Welcome to our video introducing you to Phonics Blitz and Phonics Boost. Blitz and Boost are part of Phonics Suite, a growing family of lessons from really great reading. Phonics Suite lessons help students who read below grade level and have been identified as having gaps in their phonics knowledge. This video shows students, teachers, and counselors from a New Orleans high school sharing their experience. We'll start with students describing what they used to do when they saw a word they didn't know how to read.
I asked the teacher.
Usually I just skipped it.
I just used to ask the teacher what the word was.
Well, before this, I used to always, if I came across a big word and, if I try to sound it out and it didn't sound right, I'd just skip it. But now that I got this class and I could sound it out, I just sound it out now. So I don't have a problem now.
In all Phonics Suite lessons, students learn to accurately decode both familiar and unfamiliar words through appropriately paced, multisensory, systematic, and explicit instruction. Essentially, they practice what good readers do naturally, which is pay attention to every word, read with a high rate of accuracy, and use strategies for attacking unfamiliar words.
Phonics Blitz and Phonics Boost teach the same concepts, but the pacing is different to accommodate the needs of the students. Blitz is 40 lessons and Boost is 80 lessons. Students do not progress from one set of lessons to another. Instead, they're placed in the appropriate set of lessons according to their grade and the level of their decoding weaknesses. Lessons are most effective in small groups with 6 to 12 students, depending on the level of the student's reading weaknesses. The lessons fill in the phonics gaps students should have learned in kindergarten, first, second, and third grades. Blitz and Boost review the phonics concepts that allow struggling readers to read more accurately and become efficient and confident readers.
We learned what teachers notice about how the lessons affect students.
What students have said and what teachers have said is that the students are much more confident while they're in this reading class and after they've been in the reading class in all of their academic work because they're finally getting over something that's been keeping them back for a long time. And when you've been in school 10, 11, 12 years, you come up with all sorts of ways to get by, and you can hide a lot of educational deficiencies by either being a very good homework turner in, having good attendance. It doesn't mean that you're actually understanding things in class. And now that finally students are able to read and understand, their confidence in class discussions and in doing their homework and their assignments has gone way up.
And in terms of its effectiveness, I definitely had kids last semester, 16, 17 years old, who between the beginning of the program and the end of the program went from reading 60 words a minute with lots of mistakes to reading 100-something words a minute with no mistakes, and also themselves saying, oh, I don't skip words anymore, I understand what I'm reading, I have a clue what's going on in class.
Really great readings lessons include practice reading words, sentences, and passages aloud with a focus on accuracy. They also explicitly teach students to identify sounds in spoken words, which helps students better understand letter-sound relationships. The number one goal is to read with 98% accuracy. Until students are reading with 98% accuracy, they don't work on their speed. When students try to increase their reading speed before they have 98% accuracy, they just become faster guessers. We ask them to slow down and become accurate readers. Once they are in the habit of reading accurately, then we work on building their speed.
Students told us how they felt about giving up an elective to take a reading class.
I was mad because I wanted a music class, but I got stuck in reading.
I really didn't want to be in this class. I wanted to do watercolor, acting, something like that. I really didn't want to be in this class.
It was going to be boring, and I wasn't going to learn nothing.
At my G period, I thought, why they put me in a reading class? I didn't choose reading, but it turned out good.
I feel better, because I can read music notes and lyrics better and stuff like that.
Well, after that first day and all the stuff that we was learning, I was learning that they were going to teach you how to pronounce big words that's kind of hard. So, it's just an opportunity for me to, step my reading game up. So I was I'll stay.
I made a big improvement. My reading skills went up a lot.
Because I learned more words, I could read better now, and I found it interesting, the class. The whole class wasn't boring. We weren't bored or nothing.
My biggest concern with teaching reading to older students, and I've been working right now with seniors and juniors in high school, is that there's this feeling of, well, reading's for babies, like if I can't do this now, then I'm not going to learn. And the problem with a lot of programs out there is that they're clearly meant for much younger grades, and they're so clearly meant for that there's nothing you can do to adapt them to those higher grades. The fact that I can go through the lessons at the speed that fits them, the fact that and also the fact that all of these things are being taught directly as skills, as opposed to just them practicing things that haven't been explained to them. The fact that I can actually explain to them, well, the reason why we're doing this is because it's going to lead to X, Y, and Z down the road, makes it feel a lot more like when they're in their physics class or they're in any other typical advanced high school class. And so that's been a really humongous help in terms of getting them motivated.
But kids would come up to me and talk to me about how excited they were that they were finally learning how to read. And these are high school students. A lot of our students are, quote unquote street kids. They're hard-nosed kids. And they would actually say to me, "It's so exciting, I'm learning how to read." We had an award ceremony for one of the grades. I don't remember which grade. And the students were asked if they wanted to nominate any of the teachers for awards. And several of the students sitting at the table where I was sitting jumped up and down and said, "We want to nominate Miss Ides because she taught us how to read." And this is the kind of enthusiasm you usually get out of elementary school students, and these are high school students, but they could see that it helped so much in the rest of their classes that it was worth giving up an elective, it was worth being in a quote-unquote special program because they were actually finally learning what they should have learned a long, long time ago.
Yeah, it's a great program. I'm proud to be one of the few to be up in this class.
I think the class also helped out with spelling a lot more, so now we get to learn how to correct more of your errors, so you're more accurate, not just in reading, but writing.
And it's a great program, and I think a lot of students will enjoy it.
That's why I like the program so much. It's just, it works. That's really what you want, is you want a program that actually works.